January 26, 1945, Holtzwihr, France. A young American soldier, just 19 years old, stands alone against an entire German assault. His company is in retreat. He is outnumbered, outgunned, and wounded. 6 German panzer tanks and 250 infantry are advancing on his position. Instead of running, he does the unthinkable. He climbs onto a burning American tank destroyer which could explode at any second, grabs its .50 caliber machine gun, and for the next hour single-handedly holds off the entire German attack. This is Audie Murphy, the 5'5", 110-pound farm boy from Texas who became the most decorated American soldier of World War II. Welcome to WW2 War Files. Today, we tell the story of a true American legend, a man whose courage seemed almost superhuman. Audie Leon Murphy was born in 1925 into a large, desperately poor family of sharecroppers in rural Texas. He grew up during the Great Depression, dropping out of school in the 5th grade to pick cotton and help support his 11 siblings after his father abandoned them. He learned to hunt to feed his family, becoming an expert marksman not for sport but for survival. His mother died when he was just 16, leaving him an orphan with a heavy burden. When Japan attacked Pearl Harbor in 1941, Audie, now 17, tried to enlist. But the military recruiters took one look at this small, baby-faced, underweight boy and turned him away. The Marines rejected him for being too short. The Navy paratroopers rejected him for being too skinny. Dejected but not defeated, he lied about his age, falsifying his birth certificate to appear 18, and was finally accepted into the U.S. Army in June 1942. During basic training, he fainted from exhaustion. His commanders wanted to make him a cook to keep him away from the front lines. But Audie refused. He insisted on being an infantryman. He wanted to fight. They sent him to North Africa, then to Sicily, Italy, and finally France. And this small, quiet boy from Texas began to do extraordinary things. In Sicily, he killed 2 Italian officers as they tried to escape on horseback. In Italy, he single-handedly destroyed a German machine gun crew. He contracted malaria, which he would suffer from for the rest of the war, but he always returned to the front. He was promoted again and again, not because of his size or his background, but because of his incredible bravery and leadership under fire. His men looked up to him, not because he was big or loud, but because he was always at the front leading the charge. But everything he had done so far was just a prelude to the one day that would make him a legend. January 1945, the Colmar Pocket, France. Audie Murphy, now a 2nd lieutenant, was in command of Company B. After months of brutal fighting, his company of 128 men had been reduced to just 19 soldiers and 2 M10 tank destroyers. On the morning of January 26, the temperature was a bone-chilling 14 degrees Fahrenheit with 2 feet of snow on the ground. Suddenly, the attack came. 6 deadly German panzer tanks and 2 full companies of infantry, about 250 men, emerged from the forest, advancing directly on their position. One of the American tank destroyers slid into a ditch and was abandoned. The other was hit by direct artillery fire and began to burn. Murphy knew his remaining 18 men stood no chance. He ordered them to fall back to a safer position in the woods. But he stayed. With the German infantry getting dangerously close, Audie Murphy did something that defied all logic and instinct for self-preservation. He climbed onto the burning, abandoned tank destroyer. He knew it was full of fuel and ammunition and could explode at any moment. But it had a working .50 caliber machine gun on its turret. Alone, exposed to enemy fire from 3 sides, he began to unleash a storm of bullets on the advancing Germans. For the next hour, Audie Murphy stood on that burning tank, a solitary figure against an army. He was a whirlwind of deadly fire, cutting down wave after wave of German soldiers. He was wounded in the leg, but he kept fighting. The tank was on fire, but he kept fighting. The Germans directed all their fire at him, but he kept fighting. He used the tank destroyer's telephone to call in artillery strikes on the German positions, calmly giving coordinates while bullets and shells exploded around him. An officer on the other end of the line asked how close the enemy was. Murphy's reply was chillingly calm. "Just hold the phone and I'll let you talk to one of them." Finally, after an hour of relentless combat, he ran out of ammunition. The German attack was broken. He had single-handedly stopped them. Only then did he climb down from the burning tank, limp back to his men, and, refusing medical attention, lead them in a successful counterattack that pushed the remaining Germans back. For this single act of unbelievable bravery, Audie Murphy was awarded the Medal of Honor, America's highest military decoration. Audie Murphy returned home a national hero. He was the most decorated American soldier of World War II, having received 33 awards and medals, including every single medal for valor the U.S. Army had to offer, plus awards from France and Belgium. He appeared on the cover of Life magazine. He was a celebrity. Hollywood came calling. He moved to California and began a successful acting career, starring in over 40 films. In 1955, he played himself in the movie adaptation of his autobiography, To Hell and Back. It became Universal Studios' highest-grossing film for 20 years until it was surpassed by Jaws. On the outside, he was the perfect American hero, handsome, famous, successful. But on the inside, he was fighting a different kind of war. Audie Murphy suffered from a severe case of what we now call post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD. He was plagued by insomnia, nightmares, and depression. He slept with a loaded pistol under his pillow. In the 1960s, he became addicted to sleeping pills. In a moment of clarity, he locked himself in a motel room for a week and, alone, went through a brutal withdrawal. He broke his addiction cold turkey. In an act of incredible courage, he then went public with his struggles. At a time when mental health was a taboo subject, especially for war heroes, Audie Murphy spoke openly about his PTSD, or battle fatigue as it was then called. He urged the U.S. government to provide more care and support for returning veterans struggling with the psychological wounds of war. He was a hero not just on the battlefield, but in the fight for mental health awareness. Tragically, Audie Murphy's life was cut short. On May 28, 1971, the private plane he was a passenger in crashed into a mountain in Virginia during bad weather. He was just 45 years old. He was buried with full military honors at Arlington National Cemetery. His grave is the second most visited after President John F. Kennedy's. Audie Murphy was a giant in a small frame, a boy who went to war and came back a legend. He was a hero who showed us that the deepest wounds are often the ones you cannot see, and that true courage is not just about fighting the enemy, but also about fighting the demons within. Thank you for watching WW2 War Files. If you were inspired by Audie Murphy's story, subscribe for more incredible true stories. Leave a comment. What defines a true hero?